If you're either new to the law of assumption or have kind of heard about it but think it's pretty woo-woo and don't understand how to apply it in your life, not really wanting to do like rituals, I think you're in the right place. So I want to explain the law of assumption, the law of attraction, because I believe they're one and the same, in a way that I find very logical. Now, I'm a very woo-woo person. I'm going to be very upfront and honest about that. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the power of rituals just for the belief that they give yourself. I believe that the world that we are living in is essentially an illusion, but our experience of it is real. And that's why I don't necessarily always believe in people saying, oh, you don't have to worry about anything's going on around you because it doesn't matter and it's all fake. This world is real. If you're like me, I'm over 40 years old. I definitely have much more of a logical mind, even though I touch in spirituality and I touch in the woo-woo kind of spirituality of the world. I still like to feel like I'm based in logic. And I use logic a lot, and I've been able to tie logic into the law of assumption and law of attraction. And we're seeing that more and more with the way that science is connecting as well, as far as the way that the universe is expanding and what we believe created the universe and how things work within the universe. And then also the way that our minds work and the way that you can pull experiences into your reality based on the perceptions that you have. The world is literally created from your perceptions. Anything that you experience is because it's coming through your life filter. And this is essentially what the law of assumption teaches. And so the purpose of this video is to kind of start laying the framework. This will be a series where I'll go through kind of a few of them because I don't want to go like on and become very, very boring in one video. But I want to explain to start what it means to condition your consciousness and what it means for your subconscious, your consciousness, and your experience of the world. From my point of view, what has resonated with me, which has made sense to me, and through self-experiments, I have seen play out multiple times in my own life. So if you have ever heard of someone named Neville Goddard, he was a mystic from years ago that taught that I am is the core of everything that we are. And it's really from the law of assumption. Some folks call it the law of belief. I call it just life. Honestly, I use the law of assumption quite a lot, but I really think that it's life. I think it's personal development. I think it's growth. It's having a goal and working towards it and understanding how to use the principles that are here, especially if you're new to it and you're trying to understand, like, how do I actually get the things that I want, right? Sometimes this may be about you wanting to have an overall sense of well-being, feeling better, being happier, having more joy in life. And sometimes it might be something very tangible that you want, either a specific type of relationship, a specific type of person, a certain experience, a trip that you want to take, behavior change in a family member, anything along those lines. But I think it all kind of ties together into the same belief system. And so one of the things that Neville Goddard had always taught was that I am is the core of your being. And it can be very confusing what that means. So I am, he always said, is your Christ consciousness. Essentially, I am is you without any beliefs or any conditions to it. You just are. You're not saying I am worthy or I am unworthy. You're not saying that I am wealthy or I am unwealthy. I am healthy or I am unhealthy. You just are. So when somebody talks about I am that I am, it's saying that's Christ consciousness. It's the being. And how I see that is Christ consciousness is the entire world. When I say, or when I, talk about the world being an illusion, it's not because I feel like the world is fake. We're experiencing it here. If I pinch myself, I'm going to feel it. It's going to hurt. That experience is very real to me. I don't want to downplay that experience. I don't want to deny the fact that I have this life experience. I actually want to experience all of it. I want to learn how to experience it in a way that I want and to minimize my own suffering, although I don't believe that all suffering is bad. And that's not to diminish trauma that folks have in their lives, because when you are in the middle of trauma or recovering from trauma, whether it is considered a smaller scale, and I'm not going to claim what is smaller or large scale trauma, but whether you see it as a small or large scale trauma in your own life, when you're in the middle of that and when you're healing from that, it's actually okay to feel the feelings that you want to feel. You are experiencing that. You are having this experience, and that is very real. And I think a lot of times in this community, that is diminished, where it's like, well, no, you just don't need to feel it's your belief system being pushed out. And that's hogwash. I don't even want to go there. Although this is getting a little bit off on a tangent in this video, but I want you to understand that if you are a follower of mine, I definitely believe that we have experiences, we're going to have feelings, and we have emotions, and it is not our job to deny having those or to not accept the fact that they're there. It's ours to choose the way that we're going to react to them, to choose to change our perspective of the events that are happening in our life. And to me, that is law of assumption. So when Neville says, I am that I am, or anybody from, law of assumption, law of attraction type of community, it's saying that without conditions, if you just were, you didn't put literally any kind of condition on yourself, you just are the being, right? And then we start having the conditions added. So I am female. I am a mother. I am 44. I am getting gray hair, right? I am wealthy. I am worthy. I am loved. I am funny. All of these things are the conditions that I have placed onto my own consciousness. It is the things that I believe true of myself. So as you condition yourself, that's how you begin to have the experiences in your world. And every life event that you have, whether it's the beliefs from your parents, things that happened to you in your childhood, things that have happened to you in past relationships, even on a very small scale of the way that someone treated you outside, maybe while you're at the bank or taking a run at the park, all of those things create your life experience, and they all get then formed into the belief system that you have. And when something else then happens to you, that belief system is going to take that event, filter it, and say, this is how we should react. And it comes down to IFS, which is a therapy system, talks about how we have different parts. And those parts are designed to take care of it. They're for survival. Our brain is built for survival. So when we take these events that happen to us and we have a reaction to them and we behave or we have a feeling that comes along with those, it's because of this condition that we've placed on ourselves. And that doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make it good. It just makes it is, right? So when you have something that says, I am unsafe when I'm out running at night, when you're out running at night, let's say that you're a woman out running by yourself, you are going to have a certain reaction to being out that way. You may be on more high alert. You may take a different type of route. That doesn't make it wrong. As a matter of fact, in many ways, that makes it very safe for you, and you are protecting yourself, and that's wonderful. That's what you should be doing. But then on the flip side of that, when you have an experience that if your boss tells you, I'd like to give you some feedback, or says, hey, can we chat tomorrow? And your immediate feeling is this rock in the pit of your stomach, and you're like, crap, I don't want to do this. I bet they're going to tell me that I'm awful. I bet I'm getting laid off. I think everything's going poorly. Well, then that's because those are your experiences. It doesn't mean you had a direct experience of it, but it does mean that at some point in life, you have had something that has made you believe that when somebody wants to talk to you this way, it's never good. Maybe it's the way your parents behaved. Maybe it's the way an old boss behaved. You may not even know where the reaction came from, but it's what creates your reactions. So the law of assumption is saying that whatever you have of a belief, that is what is true in the world. That is what you are going to experience. And when you think about it on a logical level, it's because our perceptions are what create our experiences. We are constantly taking things in and filtering them through our brain. Our brain is like taking it all in and filtering out what it says we should be paying attention to or not. So when we say to ourselves, I am really loved, I'm a beautiful person, and people enjoy being around me, and I'm loved, you're going to naturally, right, start picking up on ways that you are shown love. Whether it's from your family or from a man that you want to date or a woman you want to date or your spouse, whether it's from the coworkers that you have that just want to be around you because you're charismatic. Those are the things that you're going to notice. And the more that you notice them, the more you build on them. That's acceptance, that's paying attention, that's gratitude, right? That's prayer, paying attention to something. On the flip side of that, if you say, I'm completely unloved, I'm ugly, I just want to kind of shrink into myself, well, then that's a behavior that you have. Your body language, even on that type of point, is going to give out to people that you don't want to actually be present or talking with them. Okay, good. My microphone's on. I was concerned for a moment. But so that then is going to be the reflection that you get back from life, because your body language, the way that you act, and the things that you pick up is going to say, I'm not loved and I'm ignored. You may actually miss the cues coming off of other people that are showing you that they want to be around you, that they want to spend time with you. I have always found it amazing that when people start to really expand paying attention to love, I call it treasure hunts, right? And like every night you should go for a treasure hunt of the feelings that you want to have. Where were you shown that on the very smallest of scales? And when my clients, or when I start doing this on a regular basis, what we start to find is that you're like, oh, this was actually being shown to me way more than I realized, but I wasn't paying attention to it. And it's because that's the way your brain is designed. It's designed not to pay attention to it. So on the very simplest of scale, when you look at the law of assumption, essentially it's saying what you assume is what you're going to get. What you believe is what you're going to get in life. And it comes down to your brain doing the filtering. So if you thought about you not having any kind of conditions on you, none whatsoever, and right, some of this is like shadow work and looking at your beliefs and the limits that you put on yourself, right? But if you were to just think, I'm just a being, and if I were to create what I want to create and put the beliefs on myself that I want to put on myself, what would that look like? Let's say that you're trying to go for a specific person, right? And you're like, they constantly are telling me all the reasons why they don't want to be with me, they don't want to be around me. And you have this kind of core gut feeling of like, boy, they are sick of me, they just don't want to talk to me, and I'm devastated by that. Like, I'm going to miss them. And then your belief becomes, I have to convince them to come back. I have to do techniques to make them come back to me. I need to have this person come back. Well, look at what you're actually putting out. You're not putting out the belief that you're loved. You're not putting out this belief that you are cared about and that you are cherished and desired, and that you're charismatic and wonderful and loved. And then your behaviors and actions actually reflect that as well. So then you may think, oh, I have to check their social multiple times a day. I have to send them text messages reminding them why they need to talk to me, because they absolutely have to. They need to understand how much we're meant to be together. Is it starting to make sense then on what the assumption is that you're putting out? Is it starting to make sense then on how this actually gets reflected back to you? Because that's not the feeling that you're putting out. Instead, putting your focus on yourself, that's why people say that you're the actual like SP, or you're the special person, is because when you start to do that, what you are starting to pay attention to and program is the love that you will receive in life. It is the care and the feelings that you would get. And it's because you then have deemed yourself as worthy. It all comes down to self-concept. And that's what Neville Goddard is teaching a lot in the law of assumption, is paying attention to the beliefs that you have. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about how you can accept and how you should accept, and what it means to accept how you actually feel so that you can change it. Awareness is such a huge key. So as you're looking at this, and I'm starting on this first one, for one, tell me down below if I'm like talking gibberish and not making any sense, and I would love to clarify. But so when you're looking at what the I am is, your I am is your self, completely unconditioned. It's your Christ consciousness. So when you look at consciousness and subconsciousness, it's like what those beliefs are, what they've agreed on, and that's what you get reflected back in life. And this is why sometimes people are able to change their beliefs by continuously repeating something different to themselves, but they may actually kind of find that they go backwards a little bit more often, and we'll talk about that in some other videos as well. But so the next video is talking about, the acceptance. How do I accept how I feel now so I can change it? Doesn't mean we're going to dwell on it. It means we're going to learn how to change it. So again, if this is not making sense, please let me know down below. I'm trying to simplify this and make it very logical so that you're able to start applying it in your own life and pay attention to the things that you're doing in your own life. Are you reflecting the life that you want? Are you reflecting the type of person that you want to be? Are your beliefs actually aligned to that? If you don't have any conditions, and actually maybe a good exercise for you, I know it has been for me, is to write down the current conditions that I have. This will be more in acceptance as well. What do I truly believe about myself? What do I believe about the way that I'm treated? What do I believe about the life that I lead? What do I believe about the things that I should want? This is a huge one, right? What should I want versus what I actually want? So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below. If you would prefer those to be anonymous, or you have something you'd like to talk to me about that you don't want others to see, you can definitely email me. It's unleashinghappiness@ceciliahendricks.com.